The US was founded in unique circumstances and for unique reasons. As the early pilgrims made the journey over from Europe, their initial motivation was not financial, but rather to seek a place where they could live and worship freely. When Roger Williams founded Rhode Island in 1636, he laid the framework for other states to follow, as it was based on both civil and religious liberty. The US would be a country where the state had no king and the church had no pope. In the 1800s, as industrialization, urbanization, and the push westward took place, it led to a moral decline in America, particularly in the 40s and 50s, accompanied by corruption in both political parties. The tension between the philosophies of the left and the right became intense, which led to a struggle for supremacy. This naturally led to the question of where the Adventist Church, newly formed in 1863, should position itself. The early migrants who had come here for religious reasons and now been overtaken by migrants coming for largely financial reasons, and the religiosity of the 1700s had largely waned away. Desiring to return back to the glory days, the National Reform Association formed with an agenda to fix the moral decline in America, to bring the nation back to God, and to make the US a Christian nation through legislation. Initially, their tactic was to work on a federal or a national level. But in 1879, they switched, and now they started to work state by state for faster results through state Sunday laws. This agitation of Sunday laws was not something abstract, but it was impacting our church in a direct way as well. J.H. Waggoner and W.C. White were among the 1,600 Californians arrested between March and June of 1882, and the Pacific Press was closed down for some time. This was not just a U.S. issue, but it was being agitated in other parts of the world, in Europe, Africa, and Asia. Seeing this as a direct fulfillment of prophecy, as Revelation 13 was being played out in real time, a new magazine was started, the American Sentinel, that addressed issues of civil and religious liberty for all citizens. A.T. Jones and E.J. Waggoner were the editors and special messengers that God had raised as a direct fulfillment of the promise given to Ellen White at the time of her husband's death in 1881. In 1888, on May the 21st, Senator Bill Blair of New Hampshire introduced Bill number 2983, a national Sunday law. In addition, he introduced a resolution that proposed a constitutional amendment that would have established the Christian religion in America at the exclusion of other religions. It is in this context that the Minneapolis 1888 General Conference session was held, and amongst the presentations on righteousness by faith, there were presentations on religious liberty, with Jones and Waggoner showing a connection between these two subjects. Sadly, as opposition grew both to the message of righteousness by faith and religious liberty, a controlling spirit was manifested by those in Adventism at the forefront of the work, evidenced by an attempted blocking of A.T. Jones to preach at Battle Creek. When he was finally able to present, his preaching was praised by non-Adventists here in Battle Creek, and there were favorable write-ups in the Battle Creek Journal. He preached against the Blair Bill and advocated religious liberty for all. Ellen White also strongly endorsed his presentations, and the American Sentinel, whose circulation was rapidly increasing at this time. As A.T. Jones gave his week of prayer presentations, it brought revival here in Battle Creek. People saw the urgency of the times they were living in, as Revelation 13 and 14 was being fulfilled before their eyes. As the restrictive power of the enemy was seen, the importance of liberty and righteousness by faith was shown. These two matters are directly related. If God is just and true and holy, then he doesn't need to force anyone to worship him. Rather, we do so out of our own free will. Each individual person accepts him on a personal, individual basis, and no one is forced to do anything against their conscience, even if for a good cause. This extends into how we treat others as well. May we faithfully serve God, presenting his gospel to the world, always remembering that the same freedom he grants us, we need to extend to others, showing his goodwill and grace.